Hi, this is Andrew from Canyons Church, and I'll be honest, I don't feel great right now. I'm still improving, getting better. However, what I have to talk to you about today is too important. It is too important for me to not communicate it with you and not talk to you about it. So we are in the middle of ForLCV season. And I know this is weird this year because of COVID and because of the restrictions and the guidelines and all the kind of stuff that we have that is making it a challenge and making it difficult for us to do what we would typically want to do. However, I don't think that now is the time that we back off. You know, everybody is going through financial hardship. We all feel the frustration. We all feel the anger. Some of us are dealing with it more than others. I can tell you that we're behind on our budget. You know, our church is behind on our budget, but now is not the time that we back away and close our hands and close our hearts to our community. Now, more than ever, we need to reach out, extend, open our hearts, open our hands in generosity for those around us. Because that's what Jesus called us to do. When he said that we needed to be the church, that we would become the church that the gates of hell would not overcome. And not just the gates of hell, the gates of a pandemic that we're faced with today. That's not going to overcome who we are and what we are. That when we follow Jesus, it looks like something. That it's about being generous and it's about extending yourself, not just when it's easy, not just when you feel good, but when your community around you, when those around you, when the people around you need it the most, that you are there for them. And now is that time for us to rise up. Now is that time for us to become that church that Jesus spoke about. The church that the first, the early church fathers, that they dreamed about, that they hoped that this movement would one day become. Not a church that is so concerned about what goes on inside of a building, or if church has to be in person or online, or how it has to. None of that. No, the church representing Jesus does something on behalf of the people. By representing him well, we love, we give, we serve those around us. So we have a very unique opportunity right now to stand in that gap. When naturally we want to shrink back, we want to close our hands off, close our hearts off, and just get concerned about our own comfort, our own needs right now. Now is the time to step forward. So we're going to do this in a couple different ways. First of all, we're going to give, and I'm going to talk about that for a few minutes here in a second. We're going to serve, and I talked about that previously a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to talk about that right now because I don't have the time to talk about it. But if you have confidence that you are safe and you want to do what's right now, as far as being out in our community and serving our community well, we have plenty of opportunities, from being a bell ringer at the Salvation Army kettles to working with St. Vincent de Paul Social Services, a number of different areas that we can serve our community well just by being there and being available. And then finally, we want to love our community well. This year, we talked about adopting the fire departments, both Lewiston and Clarkston, in our own community. And the way that we're going to encourage them is by recognizing what they do, the work that they do, what they risk for us, for our own safety. That they are there in the middle of people's worst days and worst moments of their life. And they have a pressure, and they have a weight on their shoulders. And often that weight goes unnoticed and unacknowledged. And we want to acknowledge it. We want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for our community. You are making this valley a better place to live, a better place for me to live, for my kids to live, for my parents to live, a better place for our community to live around us. That should be our response. That should be our reaction. So we do have some more cards. We're going to send cards to all of the firefighters and the folks in the fire departments, both Lewiston and Clarkston. If you grabbed your cards the last time we had service, we actually had the cards available. It's been a little while since then. We still have over 40 different cards. We need to get those cards picked up, filled out, and dropped back off here at Canyons Church. Even though we're doing online services only at this time, you can still swing by church during service hours. Someone will be here, I promise you that. And if you want to pick up a card or a couple cards, a handful of cards, or if you want to drop some stuff off, that is great. That will be an available time to stop by. Now, let me talk to you about our needs as far as what we're trying to do financially when we want to give to our own community. We have 3 specific opportunities this year, and I'm going to be honest with you. The one that just really tugs at my heart the most is the third one that I'm going to talk about. So don't jump off here until you hear that third one. First of all, and this is a big one also, first of all is our YoungLives partnership. So YoungLives is a part of YoungLife. YoungLife is an organization that serves and loves the students in this valley, in this community, and tries to get these students to have a relationship with people that hopefully allow them to take a step towards a loving Heavenly Father. It's awesome. Now, YoungLives is specifically working with teenage mothers in our community. These are young girls that often their families turn their back on them, that often feel like they're ignored, that feel like they're forgotten, that feel like they made a choice or maybe a series of choices that have excluded them from an opportunity in life, or maybe have placed them in a category and in a circumstance that they can't get out from underneath. And we want to come alongside and work with YoungLives. YoungLives is this incredible opportunity for volunteers to step into and love these young girls well. And they spend time with them. They take them to their doctor's appointments. They provide their needs for them, whether it be picking up some diapers or just spending time and having a conversation with them. Whatever they need, YoungLives tries to be there for them, just to serve them well and again represent Jesus well. So we are happy to come alongside YoungLives and do something about that. One thing that they asked for was a Christmas present for their mothers and the babies. So we're going to try to do this, and I'm posting, or I'm including in this post, if you look in the details of this post, you're going to see a list. And that list has all of the information as far as different presents and different gifts that you could purchase for a mother and for a baby. And I would encourage you, if you have the opportunity to, please pick out 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 of these things and do something on behalf of someone that can't right now. And I know budget is tight. I also know that this, like I said before, this is an opportunity to represent Jesus well in the moment of need. When our world is seeking and crying out for hope, we have the real, true, authentic source of hope for this world. That is in our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. And we get to represent Him. So please consider doing this. Again, that's going to be a list that is on this post that you can take a look at and that you can purchase and that you can drop back off at Canyons Church. Again, we'll be here during service hours. That's Sundays at 10 a.m. You can also message us on Facebook or email me at andrew@canyonschurch.net, and we will make a way to make sure that we do what we need to do. Now, the next opportunity that we have is to continue our partnership with Homes of Hope. And one of the things that we typically try to do for them is provide Christmas present. Homes of Hope is an organization that partners with foster families in our community. I mean, these are, again, this is a demographic of kids that often goes unnoticed, that goes forgotten. And these families that accept and welcome in with open arms and open hearts, these kids that have been in a whirlwind for a while, and who knows how much their lives have been turned upside down. They never expected to be in the place that they're in right now. And there's an opportunity for us to step in and this Christmas provide a gift for them. And it might not seem like much for you and for me, but for that child, it is a source of hope. It is a source that they recognize that they are cared for, that they are loved. And all it takes right now for this opportunity to happen is a $25 gift card of a store that you would choose for a child that you think, where would a child like a gift card for? Where would they like to get a gift from? Just purchase a gift card, $25, and then again, you can mail that in, you can drop that off on Sunday mornings. Now for the third opportunity that we have, and this, like I said, this is the one that really tugs at my heart. There is a student that goes to a school here in the Valley, and he lives in Lewiston, and he goes to school in Washington. And then he has a job in Lewiston and another job in Clarkston because he's trying to provide for his family. He's trying to help out the circumstance that he finds himself in. You see, not too long ago, he didn't have a place indoors to stay. He and his mom were actually living out of a vehicle. They'd moved into the area and they didn't have anything of their own. They're in a bad spot. And to be honest with you, they're not in a much better spot than they were at the time. But this is a young man that has decided that he's not going to let challenges and obstacles get in his way of what is next for him in his life. So he's decided to get 2 jobs. He works 40 plus hours a week already right now He's continuing to go to school and maintaining a 3.0 GPA. His teachers love him. The guidance counselor there couldn't talk about him enough. And really, this is how the conversation went. I called up and said, hey, we would love to get behind a student or a family that maybe could use some extra help this time of year. And the guidance counselor said, we have some opportunities, but this is the one that I would like to steer you towards. And the reason being is this kid wouldn't ask for a dime. He wouldn't ask for help. And yet, in spite of the odds that he's up against, he's worked incredibly hard to do what is right, to do what is next for him. He's not asking for handouts. He's trying to scrap and claw and do whatever it takes to dig himself out of the hole and out of the pit that he finds himself in. That's a story that you and I can get behind. We can rewrite his future story for him. Now, there's a couple things. Like I said, he lives in Idaho. He goes to school in Washington. He has a job in both states. He doesn't have a vehicle. He walks everywhere. And we want to help out. He's actually been saving his money trying to buy a vehicle. The school has actually, they've found a vehicle that is within their own circle of influence at a very, very discounted rate. It's a good vehicle, and they just need some extra help for him. So we would like to come alongside and supplement the money that he's already saved up. That it's not just a straight out gift, that he's earned this, that he wants some ownership. He's got to have some skin in the game. But we want to help get him a vehicle that would allow him to move about and get to work and get to school easier and better and more efficiently and effectively. So that's one way we want to help him out. And that's probably going to be in between $1,000 to $1,500 that we want to raise specifically for a vehicle. Now, the other aspect is this kid wants to go to school. He wants to go to college. He's working on graduating this year. He's going to graduate. That's obvious that his grades are where they need to be. He's doing the work. He's doing his homework, all that stuff. He's a good student. He also, he's filled out the FAFSA, but he doesn't know how the money's going to come in. He doesn't know if he can barely afford to live right now at high school. How is he going to afford, going to college? We want to provide some funds for him that when he gets accepted to a school, that he actually has money donated to the school, given to the school on his behalf for tuition or books or housing or whatever it might need to be. And I would love to do whatever we can for him in that regards. This is an opportunity for us to redirect and actually allow someone that is working so hard to scrap and claw and get get the direction of his life on course from the rut that he's been living in to the path and of the potential that God has placed in him. Now, this is a kid that, like I said, he doesn't ask for much, but in the middle of that, we can represent Jesus well. Because what does God ask us to do? But to love others the way that he's loved us. That means to lay down our lives for those around us. And right now, I know it feels like we're sacrificing something because we're tight on budget. That's exactly the point. That when it's tight, when it feels difficult, is the moment that we should lean in even further. So I implore you, would you do something on behalf of this young man? Would you consider to have a life-changing moment and impact? This could be a moment that he forever looks back on and says, that's when I knew that God was real. That's when I knew that there was something beyond my control, that I was going to be okay. That in the midst of chaos, there is still a source of hope and peace. That's the opportunity that we have to be the light in a dark world, to be the hope in a world that is hopeless. Would you consider doing this? Would you give $50? Would you give $100? Would you give $500? Would you give more than that to make a difference and to make a change? Please consider doing that. This time of year, I know it's difficult. I also know it's worth it. So that's why we are ForLCV. Because we want people in our community, we want the community around us to know that God is for them, and so are we. We are ForLCV. Like I said, we have some very simple steps to take: giving, serving, and loving our community around us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for considering doing something, not just feeling something, but doing something on behalf of some folks that really could use some extra help at this moment. Thank you. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.